This one looks like actually a really cool matchup. We haven't seen this yet.
Wow, that is a lot of Tarantulas on the board versus Tenebria's Coyotal situation. Looks like that is going to end that round right away, though.
Well, never mind. Yeah, it was a. I saw Winter Moon on the other side there. Well, okay,
Wait,
just
they're still in reserves. That wasn't the end. Settle down, Jadeem Jedi.
but I see the Winter Moon, which is a champion that I like a lot. It's a nice little control champion. I hope we have a cool little Coyote control deck there. Which champion do you like the best in draft if you're playing the Venom deck?
Zorzum.
Zorzum. Yeah.
Generally speaking, the ability to add 3 spiders to my opponent's deck is slightly better than the others.
Yeah, I usually go Zorzum as well, but we've seen a couple of people playing the is it Ozen today? Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, and I wonder if he's really like he's probably better for constructed, but I haven't really thought about it.
like I suppose if you have more egg generation on your cards already, that maybe Ozen makes more sense. I don't know. Oh man, one of my favorite cards in the set right there.
Arcane Focus. Was that the Arcane? No, that Arcane Focus was not the card that was prophesized by the Thunderfield Seer.
Right. That one did not draw a card immediately. But
So he swings in here.
Tenebria does look like he did go ahead and shuffle it back into the deck, though.
Yeah, it's interesting. Wintermoon's charge power being 2 cost means you can use it incredibly liberally. Like, I often wonder if 2 resources was the right spot for that. I think Wintermoon's a very powerful champion effect, and I've been saying that since moment 1. We'll see a Thunderfield Seer swing in here. Of note, only set 3 champions available for this tournament. It's not just that the set 3 champions were more powerful, they were the only ones available. If your opponent is playing with a set 1 or 2 champion, report them.
A Vampire Princess, that's kind of a big deal.
Vampire Princess definitely interesting because it does a couple of cool things in the set. It well, especially in this like not this matchup in particular, but in this matchup for sure. Getting rid of actions is huge.
Yes.
The best thing that Vampire Princess technically does in this tournament is eat a Majesty. If it ever eats a Majesty, that's great. But it also has Life Drain. So it can snap up a couple of points. Just
has a cool name.
So we see the Bloat Cap come down onto the board. Kind of a limited staple, but not the most fantastic constructed card. Certainly in this format, though, it does some things, and in this matchup, it actually feels pretty good. Hand control feels like it'd be good for the Venom style player here.
Yeah, one thing we've talked about is the mulligans are pretty brutal for the ramp players, and it's tough if you don't get to choose which card they're losing, because sometimes they could just discard useless calamities or useless shards. But if you can get enough discard and just force them to run out of cards, that actually could work. Woolsey Wabbit Calamity, how to make this happen without losing. That would be pretty tough, but pretty awesome if you did. We see Eeta here. Considering options. Should be note, in case we didn't say it, There is a champion power activation on the Vampire Princess there. And with the Vampire Princess swing, only 3 cards left for Tenebria here.
Yeah, running low on cards is the scary part here, because if he has any actions left, he is going to start having higher and higher chances to reveal them. Fenteo, the Broodlord, hits the board and will start next turn the deadly advance of Tarantula eggs. Screen is so small because Eeta B is not streaming on a fantastic resolution or whatnot, which I have to do myself, so I understand. But it is still the featured match, so we try to bring you the best.
Now this Arcane Focus, one of the good ones that draws a card and lets you also find the best card of the next 2.
Yep. The longer a game goes against a Winter Moon player, the more dangerous it is for you, like as the other player, because you slowly start to get into that danger zone. Now that being said, like you mentioned, the more eggs in somebody's deck, the more you want them to draw cards.
Wow.
So we see Majesty.
Titania's Majesty, I think with Spell Shield.
Almost certainly. Looking at Windsinger, Lanopaw, and a quick Brown Fox Scout that will never touch the board.
Yeah, so that Spell Shield Windsinger is huge. There is now, he's going to get an extra card every turn. He's going to get his resources back. If he's playing counter magic, he'd be able to go and use it here.
Suffocate's certainly an option. We haven't seen any, but...
Sure, Suffocate, sorry. I'm just using the general term, but you're right. Suffocate is a card.
Well, I just meant because counter magic is actually not...
Right, it is actually a card. You're right, yeah. You see the champion power activation and swing. Oh. Activation.
We'll activate Fenteo first. Now this is interesting because it will let through the Carnosaur and the Thunderfield Seer if nothing is found. Boop. That damage goes through the face. A couple of things are buried. Looks like nothing seems to really matter. Another Windsinger is revealed. And a second Vampire Princess is laid onto the board. This will block healthily against that Thunderfield Seer and Carnosaur, so there's no worries there. Tenebria, definitely not in a bad spot. Windsinger is a 4/6 for 6, double Sapphire, double Wild Threshold card, Cantus, that refreshes your resources on your opponent's turn and allows you to draw a card. You may draw a card, whenever they draw a card. Right. So,
yeah, the Winter Moon Mirror, where one player has Windseeker, is pretty crazy. That's for sure. Any control mirror, really.
It's actually, I've heard this comment a lot. The format would be super diverse without Titania's Majesty, but I'm not really sure if that's true. I think the format is still very diverse, especially if you look at this matchup. This is crazy. Coyotal Trishard versus vampires and whatnot. So this swing is going to be unblocked. I imagine Eeta probably scared of a second Carnosaur or some other sort of way of dealing with that Vampire Princess. He would rather just swing in with it.
Yeah.
And we see a Purge. This will remove all non-Coyotals and all non-Rangers. Any troop that isn't a Coyotal or a Ranger will be removed. Of course, that means Undead Vampire Princesses and Venom Clerics? I should know this, but I don't. I'll bet you it's a Venom Cleric. And we see a Vampire Kiss used in response to destroy the Thunderfield Seer. And another Vampire Kiss. Now, did he have to do that? Wasn't the...
It's a dinosaur, yeah.
Maybe just because he could?
Maybe he just wanted to gain the health. I don't know. I don't know if you thought about that one there. I mean, it should have just been voided, so. Yeah. But yeah, having Purge on your spell shielded Windsinger sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. Arachnophobia will come out. This will force 2 cards out of Tenebria's hand. We know one of the cards in his hand is a Windsinger because we've seen that off of the Vampire Princess trigger. And I believe he's still holding on to a Wild Shard. And we see a Tarantula pop off the top. Now, Tarantula, of course, cannot attack or cannot destroy a spell shielded troop, but it is still a 5/5 for 5.
Right.
So it is gumming up the board.
Yep. I almost wonder if you're on Tenebria's side, if you hold back a shard and just stay at 3 cards, maybe, just so in case your opponent has another Arachnophobia.
Was it 9 Tarantula eggs or 6 that managed to make their way into Tenebria's deck?
I don't think it was 9, but I didn't.
So, which means there's still 5 in there. It might have been 9 because he would have activated in response to the Purge. Oh no, he already activated. Yeah, I think it was 6. So you see a Kiss dealing with that Thunderfield Seer, maybe?
The Thunderfield is awesome.
Not a Seer. That's the Elder.
The Thunderfield is awesome because it'll copy the next card, the next action that is in the deck there, with Prophecy. And especially in a deck like Wintermoon, a really cool interaction you get is it copies the card. Both copies end up going to your graveyard.
Copies are not replicas, so they carry over everything.
And it appears that this is our copied card here. It's an Epiphany.
And it appears... Is that a double Epiphany or a double Wintermoon Epiphany?
That is a doubled Epiphany.
Okay,
so Wintermoon could bring back both of those Epiphanies that have the copies, so you can draw more cards that draw more cards and draw more cards.
Yeah. Worth noting, doesn't want to draw too many cards. It is still actually in Tenebria's negative benefit to draw too many cards. This board state is actually... I mean, he still needs to put down a threat.
Right. This Rhythmic Spiritualist adding more troops back to the deck, this time bringing Carnosaurus back.
Well, and troops that come back with +2/+2 as well.
With +2/+2 and reduced
which
cost.
is important when your opponent has a 5/5 Tarantula! Just like a scare... It's just like... What if something existed IRL that was a Tarantula? That's scary.
That is a scary spider. There are a lot of people who would be afraid of that, for sure.
We see Parappa the Rapagi, coming down and dealing with the Rhythmic Spiritualist, not letting any more Coyote back into the deck. Have we seen... There's got to be a Wakuna Crowfeather somewhere in Tenebria's list. I have to imagine. It's just such a powerful...
There's a good chance. Yeah.
Yeah. We see a Spiderling come out. We see another Tarantula come out. That will deal with the Quick Brown Fox Scout.
Yeah, the power of the Windsinger giving you resources on your opponent's turn again, getting to play the additional Epiphanies. Now, I'm not sure if this is a thing that Tenebria is playing, but with Diamond, there is the possibility of Stinging Ambush here as well, too.
Yeah, but losing the Spiderlings is kind of an expected... Like, you're not too sad about it. I mean, it's true you lose your chump blockers, but...
Losing the Spiderlings is not the end of the world, but losing a Tarantula into Spiderlings might be a bigger problem. And that's even if he has it. Like, I don't even know if he's playing the card. Because you could potentially block Windsinger plus the Stinging Ambush to deal damage to each troop.
The Tarantula is swinging in here. Of course, the Windsinger normally not able to block and kill the Tarantulas, but with this quick brown Fox Scout, the double block will be possible. Well, it's not even going to be a double block. It looks like Tenebria is going to throw everything in front here. Doesn't want to take any damage, which is interesting. Could have double blocked and killed a Tarantula. A couple of cards buried off the top of the deck reveal another Tarantula and another Spiderling. Things are getting scary. Only 3 more Tarantulas in a Tenebria's deck, but Purge was put back into his deck and still looks super good on this board.
Yeah, Purge would be super.
Boom, Purge! Now that was not the first Purge. He did not draw a card off of that, as far as I'm aware.
Right.
This is the Thunderfield Elder that he put in before, though. So now he doubles down. Awkwardly, double down Purge, not as good as it sounds. Double Voiding Troops, not exciting.
There can be a scenario where it matters. Not usually, but you could do something. Well, no, actually, it would be pretty desperate if you had to go like target one troop type, target a second troop type to clear everything. If you do that,
yeah, I mean, but you could
using your whole board too. Like Purge is awesome when you get to keep your stuff, but
if you had a Coyote Ranger and a Coyote Warrior, you could
that's
Purge.
True.
Yeah,
that's true.
You could, like, if your opponent had some warriors, you could get rid of the warriors, and if they also had rangers, that's incredibly edge case, and you wouldn't be
incredibly edge case. That's right.
We see the swing here, taking Eeta down to 11 health. He's still not out of it, but things are looking rough. His opponent does have a bajillion cards in hand, and is not afraid to draw any more. Goes to 8. Parappa the Rapidgy coming down, dealing with the Thunderfield Elder again. It matters versus Suffocate to double Purge. I suppose that's also the case.
It's true. It's true. I wonder how many real cards are left in Tenebria's deck and how many of those are actually spiders. It's so hard to know when you have Winter Moon and you have a lot of burying going on.
So now Lanapaw and Windsinger, the primal buddies, always sitting next to each other in primals as far as my experience goes. I can't see how many cards Eeta has in hand, but I can't imagine it's too many here. Must be kind of playing in top deck mode.
That is a lot of focus. Holy moly.
Yeah, at this point, Tenebria's got enough card draw and deck filtration to just kind of find and select what he wants. We have given out the door prizes. I've announced them a couple of times. Let me go and find them yet again for you guys.
One of the interesting things here, Tenebria might be at the point where his deck's getting small enough, maybe you start putting shards back in so you don't deck yourself.
Yeah, kind of always got to be at that point. I wonder if he's running a singleton Calamity just to avoid it. No, there's no card that actually works that way. But
yeah, not
in all formats available, he would either have Chronic or Crash.
Sure.
To avoid the full bury down. Exarch of the Egg and a couple of Spiderlings will buy some time here.
Another Purge. Another board wipe. And that'll do it.
Yeah, at this point, it's just not going to be worth it to continue for Eeta. But Eeta did win Game 1, if I'm not mistaken, so we will be going to Game 3.
One of the nice little interactions with this particular champion, they both have some cool interactions. The Ozen can bury off the Prophesied troops. So if you do have Lacuna Crowfeather cycling, it is possible to get rid of that potentially. Of course, we saw Lanapaw and some other Prophecy troops as well. It's also notable that for Winter Moon, if an important card gets buried, you can go ahead and shuffle it back in and get it back anyway. So you can kind of keep the important cards that you want to keep redrawing.
Wolves eat spiders. I'm not sure that's biologically correct. So we see the blood, I believe, from Eeta here. Going down, Tenebria leading with a wild resource. Nothing exciting here. Of note, not a turn 1 Thunderfield Seer, which I have to imagine is Tenebria's only turn 1 play, and a strong one, other than Arcane Focus, sorry.
I could maybe see, like, at least in draft, Storm Drummer is a card. I don't know if Tenebria is running it. But
we didn't see it in 40-plus cards last game.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
Turn 3, Arachnophobia here will force Tenebria to discard 2 cards. And without him playing a Sapphire so far, that could be important. Throws out a quick round Fox Scout and something else. I would be checking the grave, but I can't click on it. Spectate mode, please. We see Rhythmic Spiritualist hit the board on turn 3. Again, Tenebria not laying down a Sapphire Shard. Could be stuck off of Sapphire and Diamond here. And we'll see. Puts the Carnosaur, was the second card, back into the deck. Is it only 1 card a turn for the Rhythmic?
It is 1 troop a turn for the Rhythmic, yeah.
Okay, so I thought it was 2 for some reason.
Yeah, he gets back the Carnosaurus first there, which seems solid. This time we see the Diamond Shard and the Seer are the ones that have been discarded. Definitely makes sense discarding all those troops when you have a Spiritualist. Don't mind getting those recycled back in.
You don't, but at the same time, this is probably the ideal spot for Eeta here, like just reducing his opponent's hand size. The Sapphire is found, which is the last thing he wanted, because now those can go back even further. The last card in hand is an Arcane Focus, which will allow Tenebria to look at the top 2 cards of his deck, select one and put it into his hand, and put the other at the bottom of his deck.
Does it go bottom? Because I thought it was just random.
If it was on a delay and you could see the hands, I'd be fine with that. Or if you could set tournament rules to allow various things, I don't know. Maybe only tournament organizers could look at, I don't know. Spectator mode comes with a lot of implications. It's random? Okay, the Arcane Focus puts it back at the random. I was mistaken. For some reason, I thought it was bottom.
We do see the Spiritualist ability returning this Fox Scout there again. Making another awesome draw. Eeta killing the Spiritualist here. Makes perfect sense.
Gotta, might as well get rid of it. Reduce Tenebria to what's left in his hand. I can't remember how many cards Eeta should have in his hand here. But 2 Arachnophobia, Paraphagy, 5 resources. He might be down to the last of it.
Yep. Makes good sense. Cycle back. Yep. Makes good sense. Cycle back. The Arcane Focus and the Spiritualist. Good targets there. And we see Carnosaurus on an empty board.
Yeah, just to put pressure down. We see Eeta draws a card, very likely to play it. There's a Vampire Princess. This will block the Carnosaur. Also an Acheblight Afflictor, so... That's an interesting card for constructed on its own Z's here. It's a 2-1. Almost anything in the game blocks it well. But when it dies, 4 Spiderling eggs go into the opponent's deck. That's a lot of eggs for 1 troop. And, generally speaking, if you get a swing a couple of times with it, that's fine. A Winter Moon player likely to block it because they don't care what goes to their grave. They can bring it back. Charges are easy to come by. We see the charge power used on the Vampire Princess. And the swing from both troops here. Not really afraid of the backswing because he's going to be gaining some health off of the Vampire Princess. No cards to reveal and transform into Vampire Kisses, though. But does hit an egg. And an Eternal Sage from hand. So Eeta certainly had more cards available than I was expecting. And plays a Blood card. Manages to knock a few key cards off of the top of Tenebria's deck, including one Purge that ends up in the grave. Couldn't have been played yet. It does cost 7. But would be a fantastic card for Tenebria. Actually, he wouldn't want it in his hand at all because of the Vampire Princess. So
it's true. Not quite yet. Getting that Arcane Focus, one of them that's been reshuffled.
Door prizes have been handed out, guys. This will allow for some card draw. Back up to 3 cards in Tenebria's hand off of that on its own. One was a shard.
Now, one of the nice things about this Purge, if Tenebria would draw it, is that with multiple troop types, you actually also have the option to go ahead and have dinosaurs where you exhaust and get rid of them all, or all the coyotes. And having 2 different troop types sometimes is a nombo because you end up losing some of your guys, but it also gives you the option, especially when it's diverse like that you can usually find one or the other that you can go and wipe the other side, the other board complete. You see the champion power activation again.
Yeah, the more activations, the better for A to B at this point.
I missed
just swing with everything. It has to be the princess because it doesn't look like the text is on either of the spiders. And I can't imagine he would do it on the sage, which is just asking to be blocked already. Because that's a lot of damage. Another spiderling egg is hit. A couple of powerful coyotes end up in the grave.
We see the Eternal Sage doing more work, this time with the Blood Gem. With the Blood Shard coming into play every time, it will bury additional cards from the top of the deck and generate another spider this time.
Arachnophobia is very similar to Misfortune, yes. Chat is having a bit of a discussion about that. Power level comes from rarity and set dispersion. 2 damage versus 2 eggs, kind of a hard toss-up, really. There's a lot of damage on EW's side of the board.
Another champion power activation.
I can't tell how many resources he's at, but I have a hard time telling. If he's at 7, if EW's at 7, he had the game anyway. It's looking pretty good for him here. He's going to swing and he's going to get through 7 damage, bury a couple more cards.
I think
just hit that Purge again.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think probably Purge was the best out, but you had to have a troop in play.
I had to have a troop in play, and also had to be
also had to survive. Yeah, like
if this is a Purge. If this is a Purge in Tenebria's hand, he could make a comeback like nobody's business. But it is a Diamond Shard. I believe that means he's dead on board unless the top card of his deck is like 4 more Quick Brown Fox Scouts. It's not. He concedes. That was a really good match. I think both of them did well. Yes, Vampire Kiss was in hand, but we shouldn't have known that. We weren't discussing it because things
we
and
didn't
stuff.
want to. Yeah, we knew that it was because we saw it peek over that hand guard there, but we just didn't want to talk about it. But yeah, you're right. Like having removal in response to the Purge target is a thing and does unfortunately stop the Purge, or fortunately stop the Purge.